Welcome to the Delicious Alignment Body Love and Food Freedom podcast, where we discuss all things law of attraction and learning how to love your body and your food, as well as how to attract more health and wellness into your life with ease. I'm your host, Rhonda Ryder, author of Delicious Alignment, How 25 Women Learn to Love and Transform Their Bodies Using Abraham Hicks and the Law of Attraction. Before we get started, I want to let you know about a free 3-day online workshop I'm doing on Monday, October 24th, 25th, and 26th from 7 to 8:30 p.m. Eastern. It's called Easy Peasy Holidays, How to Create a Stress-Free Holiday and New Year. Feel free to sign up after these dates as you can get all the replays. During these 3 days, I'm going to show you how to tune in to better feeling emotions when feeling stress or anxiety about food, the holidays, or actually any topic you want to feel better about. We will focus on emotions because calibrating your emotions is the key to creating and attracting more of what you want. Make sure to grab your spot or get access to the replays by going to deliciousalignment.com/holidays. Today I'm interviewing my friend Selina Penner, who got happy and healthy after years of anxiety and ill health with the help of the teachings of Abraham Hicks. Selina lives in Winnipeg, Canada, where she enjoys dancing, playing board games every chance she gets, and working with kids. One of my favorite parts of the interview, and there are many, is when Selina goes on a rampage about how much she loves fruit. After not eating fruit for many, many years, including how bananas she is for bananas. Enjoy. Hi, Selina.
Hi, Rhonda.
Hi. So great to see you today.
Oh, it's awesome. I'm excited.
You're going to start with telling us about your journey, about recovering your health and how that relates to food and just it's been an incredible journey. And um, let's kind of start like with the before story,
Mhm.
and then we're gonna, for all our listeners, move into how you found Abraham Hicks and whatever else helped you, and then you began to have this amazing relationship with food that was all new to you, whereas before it was very restrictive and trying to figure out, what's going to help you feel better. So yeah, let's just jump right in. And why don't you start with telling me about and telling everyone else about what life was like before finding the law of attraction and Abraham Hicks, and your body, your relationship with your body, and your struggles with some various illnesses. We won't spend too
Mhm.
much time there, but we definitely want to hear the before story. So.
Mhm. Well, it's been quite a ride. I chose to be born into a family with lots of difficulties and issues. My parents had lots of issues of their own. And I guess I would say that chose, I, I chose to pinch myself off from well-being very early on. I decided to hide within myself from all the chaos that was going on around me. And I stopped loving myself. I stopped thinking I was great. I started viewing myself as the people around me, I felt like they did. And so I developed a lot of anxiety. I was in my head constantly worrying about what people were thinking about me. Um, through elementary school, I basically hid. Like I hid in
Mm-hmm.
books. I hid within
Mm-hmm.
myself. I wanted nobody to notice that I was even there. And uh, and so I was like bullied at school. I was bullied at home, and from there, all things just got worse and worse. And by high school, I was already experiencing physical issues like, insomnia. It starts with insomnia, like not being able to sleep and worrying about whatever I'm going to say, trying not to say anything. Um, yeah, so I just really, really pinched off from my own
Mm-hmm.
well-being, and all kinds of physical issues and anxiety, mental health issues developed from there. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I could go into a long list of all the physical issues that I came across, and they just got worse and worse and worse, and more got added and more got added, until I felt like I was going to go insane, really. And I had children, and I was very stressed raising children.
And what was your relationship with food like during this time or when you became an adult?
Hmm. I ate everything. At that time, I ate everything. But my addiction to sugar was increasing hugely.
Because I've heard you talk about how you tried all these different diets. You were,
Yeah, as the health problems got worse, like as they
mm-hmm,
piled up, like health problem upon health problem piled up, I was trying to figure out what can solve this. And
mm-hmm.
like I gave up sugar completely because my desire for sugar had increased hugely. And then I ended up figuring out that I had something called Candida, which is like a yeast imbalance. And they said, oh, you should cut out all the sugar. So I went cold turkey and I cut out all the sugar, which by the way, I don't recommend doing that cold turkey because you will feel like you've just withdrawn from drugs or something. It was horrible. I felt like a truck had run over me. It was nasty. Um, yeah, and after that, like I just tried all the diets. I've done, paleo, I've done keto, I've done carnivore, I've done vegetarian. Like I've
And
just done
you were doing
all of
these diets to not necessarily to lose weight. That wasn't your goal. Your goal was to
No,
feel better. And I know,
it was to feel better.
I mean, just to mention, not to dwell on it at all, but just to mention, I mean, you had part of your intestines removed. You had,
Mhm.
what other were the main things? Just real quick.
Oh, tons of my whole body was itchy all the time. I was dizzy. I had recurring sore throat. I used to lose my voice for weeks at a time, several times a year. I was very sensitive to cold. I had to wear everything. Like I had to wear a hat all year round, like a toque. Well, that's Canadian thing, anyways. I was intolerant to lots of smells, chemical smells. Lots of foods made me feel sicker. My feet hurt constantly. I was at the podiatrist all the time. Like there were so many things.
Okay, and plus
Yeah.
you had anxiety as well. So, um, the reason I bring that up, so the food, the diets weren't necessarily, like I said, to lose weight. It was
No.
to try and find something that was going to work for you, that was going to make you feel better, both
Yes.
physically and emotionally. Would that be right?
Yes, absolutely. Because like I developed that, like after all those other things, I developed chronic fatigue syndrome.
Hmm.
I was exhausted all the time. And that the diets were also like, maybe it's something I'm eating. Maybe I'm losing my energy because of something I'm eating. And so I constantly changed my diet, trying to figure out if that was it. Yeah.
Yes. So tell
Yeah.
me more about that. What about all these diets that you tried? I did listen to a calibration you had with Gina Mallison,
Mhm.
where she calibrated you. That's the method that I also use, as you know, in my
Mhm.
coaching, and you are
Mhm.
also in the program as well, to either become a coach or just because you love this work so much, uh,
Mhm.
because it's
Mhm.
so powerful.
It is.
And you, in this calibration, you were expressing that you were trying all these different diets to find something that would help you feel better, but
Mhm.
as a result, you started, it really
Mhm.
kind of messed up your relationship with food
It
even
really
more.
It really, really did. Absolutely. Like the first thing I did was I went to a naturopath, and the naturopath said, "Oh, you should cut out this and that, and the other thing." And then I kept trying the different diets. And for me, knowledge is power. Like when I really buy into a diet, like I really believe this is going to work, then that's when it really, really works for me. But the thing is, then you have to take on all these beliefs. And so I took on, and I not only did I take on the beliefs about which foods were good and which foods were bad, but then I went a step further because I love to research things. So I would research the particular food that was supposedly bad, and I would find out everything bad about it. And so it, like, I just kind of inundated myself with information about how bad certain foods were.
Let,
Uh,
let's talk, as they say, unpack that a little bit, right, before we move on to more, because that there's so much there that you just said. I mean, we could do a whole podcast just on beliefs first,
yeah.
and then what you said about researching a food and finding all the evidence of why that food is
Mhm.
bad. Uh, so just not to skip over it because it's so
Mhm.
powerful what you said about beliefs.
Mhm.
So you feel in your experience the particular diet that you went on, and you went on many,
Mhm.
helped you because you had a belief that
Yes.
it would help you, or that it
Mhm.
would help you, what, feel better or lose weight, or what was the thing?
Well, yeah, with most of the diets that I went on, Yeah, I was just hoping to feel stable. Like I was hoping to feel like some of the symptoms that I had that were constantly fluctuating, like kind of like allergic reactions, like when you would eat food and then you would feel like really icky, you might get rashes, or I was trying to avoid all of those things. And so every time I entered into a diet and fully believed it, a lot of those problems would stop. And so I'm like, okay, good. That's woohoo. But I had to create very strong beliefs in order for it to work. And so I would research those foods that it told me not to eat, and I would find out why they're so bad. And then like I would even go around telling people, oh, you shouldn't eat this and you shouldn't eat that. And this is what that's doing in your
Yeah, I
body. And
remember. I remember
yeah.
going through that phase. You know what?
Yeah.
And I raised my children that way, and that's just one of
Mm,
the things
yes.
you have
Me
to
too.
just come to peace with. Don't eat
Yeah.
that. That's bad for you. And
Yeah. Yeah.
I did have some guilt about that after I learned the law of attraction, but then yeah, guilt is a useless emotion. So,
Yes. It's that
when you
regret.
know better,
Yeah.
you do better. But I did,
Exactly.
I
Exactly.
did raise them. Don't eat that. Don't eat. And then they don't listen to you anyway. So, um, because they have
True
their
that.
own inner being. They have their
Yeah.
own inner being. Yes. So it sounds like there was a lot of efforting.
Hmm.
You you did these diets, and for a while they might have worked, but it was a lot of hard work. And as you know, my work is about food freedom.
Hmm.
Yay! We
Yeah.
love, and where you are getting, I can't wait to get to that part of the story. We'll get to that in a little bit. Um, but the food freedom is not about efforting. It's not about hard
Hmm.
work. It's not about struggling. It's not about willpower. Actually, I just a, saw a quote the other day from Abraham, something like, don't use willpower to not eat the donut. Use willpower to feel good
Hmm.
emotionally. I love that. I love
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
So back to your story. So you were trying all these different diets, and I remember hearing you say um, even the medical medium, that was more maybe intuitive eating, a little bit more. No, but they
No,
had
for me,
yes
I took it.
foods,
Yeah, they
and
have yes foods and no foods. For me, I took it a little too religiously, probably, which I tend to approach a lot of things. I came from a religious background. So parts of medical medium have been extremely helpful for me.
mm-hmm,
And I still do a whole bunch of the things that I learned from medical medium, actually. But what didn't work for me was that I internalized too much that there were yes foods and then the no foods were just like so bad. And so that just increased my belief that it's bad to eat certain foods, and I put shame on myself and guilt, and it was just not helpful. So then, yeah, so I really had to transition away from medical medium in order to start seeing better results with my health for sure. Because any of that, like putting things in categories, this is good and this is bad, it just doesn't work for me.
yeah,
It's, yeah.
yes, I
So,
know. I just I love that. And just little disclaimer here. When you start following, to our listeners, when you start following your inner being, listening to your body, as Selena's going to talk about, uh, you may be guided to this food plan or that food plan
mhm,
or medical medium. It's not like saying like medical medium is bad or this is bad.
mhm.
It's really
Nope.
about whatever resonates with you at this time, and being
Mhm,
fluid and flexible, and knowing this may change also over time,
mhm.
because it's a journey. It's not like you get there and that's it. You just keep evolving,
Yeah.
and things keep unfolding. So nothing against medical mediums, but in your experience, you are developing this these are the yes foods, these are the no foods, these, and I so relate. I mean,
Mhm,
especially when I think back again to raising my kids, and just was really into all, don't eat that sugar, don't eat the white flour, white flours,
mhm.
it's like the
Yeah.
devil, the white flour and the sugar, and
Yes, I remember.
all the, and it, if you're like, now, like, I'm guided to eat less sugar, I'm guided to eat less white flour, and that's fine, that's fine. It's like, what I'm on the journey like everyone else, listening to my body,
Mhm.
and what does it want. And um, so yeah, so go ahead and tell us more about. I have here that again, yeah, you built up lots of beliefs. You tried every diet. You have yes foods and no foods, um, and and then what changed? What happened?
Well, attracted I attracted Abraham eventually. So that was super awesome. And I binged hundreds and hundreds of hours of Abraham YouTube videos. And and I fully took on, everything that Abraham is saying, and I changed my health completely, because of all the things that I learned from Abraham. And then I guess I started realizing that how I feel is way more important than what anybody says. And I guess it's only in the last year that I've started to learn about intuitive eating. Like I learned from Abraham that all the foods are okay, right? All the foods are
Mhm.
great. There's nothing wrong with any food. It's really about your beliefs. And so I started working. I thought, well, I need to shift my beliefs about food. I need to shift my beliefs about food. I have to think that all the foods are great. And that was a little difficult for me to do because of like I had really gone intensely into studying why all those foods were bad. So I couldn't just let all that go super easily, even though I thought it would be super easy to do that, but it wasn't because I kind
Mhm.
of internalized them so strongly. Um, and then so I got all my health back, and I became
Okay, okay,
happy for
okay,
the
okay.
first time in my
Wait,
life.
wait, 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 wait.
But okay.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so you found Abraham
Hmm.
and you started just listening to Abraham Hicks YouTube videos because anyone
Const-
that's listening, if you go on YouTube and you not Google, search Abraham Hicks, any topic like food cravings, loving your body, dieting, weight
mhm,
loss, relationships. I mean, any subject, you will find hundreds and hundreds of videos on the
mhm.
subject. So Selena started listening to Abraham videos on the subject of food and loving her body and
And everything else.
everything
I had
else.
playlists. I had playlists. Like I listened and then I put things into playlists, and then
Hmm.
I would listen to them over and over and over again. And
Yeah.
that's like so then that's how I transformed my, not just food, but like everything about my health was by listening to Abraham talk about. And then I put into practice what they said to do, right?
Okay,
So
so I want to know what happened with your health. So you're saying, and I know your story, but I want to know more. So you're saying that you started feeling better. You started recovering your health when you
mhm.
started doing this.
Yeah, like doing the actual things that Abraham suggests doing in all those videos that I watched.
Which
So for
could you
for
give us a
example,
few? Yeah, thank you.
yes, absolutely. I did. Well, one of the, like, if you're sick and you're trying to get well, one of the things that Abraham says, you choose your focus, right? We get to deliberately choose our own focus. And I thought my mind was running the show and I had to just go wherever my mind said, but you know what? You don't have to. So that was cool. And so I started to have very light thoughts about my symptoms. Before I was like constantly analyzing my symptoms, I started to feel very light about my symptoms. This is just my body finding its balance. There's nothing serious going on. I love that expression. There's nothing serious going on. I said that to myself all the time. I soothed myself whenever I started thinking thoughts of doom and gloom and oh my goodness, this terrible symptom is awful. I started doing what they said, which was appreciating first thing upon waking up. So before I even opened my eyes in the morning, I would immediately start appreciating my pillow. I made appreciating the things on my bed into an art form. I appreciated my sheet. I had 4 blankets on my bed. I would individually appreciate each one of them before I even opened my eyes.
Mm,
So I really started practicing appreciation. I
mhm.
stopped pushing against anything. Abraham talks about this all the time. Before things, not against things. And before I was like a social justice activist. I was always pushing against something in the world. I stopped pushing against everything. And
Mhm.
that was a work for sure. I stopped telling the story. of my
Mm-hmm.
limitation and my illness. I stopped telling people about it. That was my life before, telling people about how bad I felt. I
Mm-hmm.
stopped doing that. That was also a difficult thing to do, but I persisted and I did it. I started to choose my things that I engaged in. I was bedridden for a lot of this time. I started to choose only uplifting and funny things to watch or listen to. I
Mm-hmm.
stopped watching dramas and things about murder and all those things. I chose very carefully what I would engage in. I looked at the sky a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Abraham talks about that. Like, just engage with nature, even if you can't go out in it.
Mm-hmm.
Just look at it. I started admiring the clouds. I called the clouds, like, it's like Netflix, the clouds. They're always changing. There's always something new on it, just like Netflix.
Mm.
Oh my goodness. I joined a Facebook group called the Cloud Appreciation Society. It was awesome. Like, I made a lot of
Mhm.
choices like that. Esther says she does a huge big stretch first thing in the morning, stretches her body out completely. I
Mhm.
started doing that so I could feel how amazing my body felt, even though I was still tired. I could lie there in bed and stretch it out and feel how great it was. I looked in the mirror. I started doing mirror work like Louise Hayes talked about. I looked
Mhm.
in myself in the mirror and told myself how cute I was. And I meant it. And I engaged with my eyes. And that was like really awkward
Mm.
to start doing, but I was like
Mhm.
persisted.
Mhm.
And a phrase I said a lot, which I think I probably got from an video, was my trillions of cells are in complete and total alignment with my inner being who only knows my utter and absolute well-being.
Mhm.
I said that over and over and over again.
Mhm.
When I was finally able to start going for really short, slow walks, like because I had
Mhm.
fatigue, so I was really tired. I gave myself a goal. Every property that I passed, I had to find at least two things to appreciate about it. And so it was like my assignment as I went for a walk,
Mm.
so that I wouldn't be walking feeling like, oh, I'm so tired. Like, no, I was focused on, ooh, where's something I can appreciate. So really, appreciation became my full-on like focus.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And I stopped focusing on any symptoms. I just focused on what can I appreciate.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love all of that. And there's so many things that we could just, like I said, talk
Mhm.
about each one of those for a whole hour. But the one that's standing out to me right now is how you stopped telling the story. You
Mm.
stopped telling people about your problems, your
Mhm.
illnesses. That's
Yes.
really, really interesting and
It's
powerful.
it's a challenge if you've been doing that for ages. It's like
Mhm.
you don't even know what to talk about. If you're not going to talk about, if you've always been talking about what's wrong, it's like, what do even people talk about? I had a hard time with that. But once I started appreciating, that helped a lot because
Mhm.
I can easily talk about appreciating
Mhm.
everything,
Oh my
so
God,
well.
you're
Yeah.
the master.
Yeah. So,
You are the
so
master. Yeah, at
that
appreciation.
helped a lot. But yeah,
Mhm.
stopping telling the story is so, so important because you get what you focus on. And if you're focusing on your depressing story of lack, then you're going to get
Mhm.
more. And yeah, so I stopped as much as possible. I stopped. And I even told people, like my friends and things, I would say, I'm not going to talk about my bad symptoms. I'm not going to talk about my story. I'm also not going to talk about what's going on in the world. I'm not going to talk about the bad things that are happening around.
Mhm.
Like, that's just not where I want my focus to be. And
Excellent.
it helped
Yes.
so, so much.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So what happened with the food? I know you were saying you were focused on the food and then what's wrong with this food, this no food, this no food, this food is bad. So how did you change that? If you would like to discover how to replace diet deprivation with food freedom, alignment, and trusting your inner guidance, learn how to make friends with food. Yes, that means celebrating and appreciating food maybe for the first time in your adult life. Experience what it's like to stop obsessing over food and weight, then private coaching with me may be for you. Or perhaps you know someone who is suffering from shame, guilt, or obsessive thoughts about their body and food choices. Right now, I am offering bonus sessions when you sign up for a coaching package with me. Get all the details at deliciousalignment.com/coaching. So, what happened with the food? I know you were saying you were focused on the food and then what's wrong with this food, this no food, this no food, this food is bad. So how did you change that?
Well, I think it
You
was a very
probably,
gradual,
yeah, yeah, it is very gradual, isn't it?
it's a
People,
gradual
I mean,
process.
like I work with people and we all want that quick fix.
Mm.
And even the vibration of raising your vibrational set point on in general, and then on certain topics, especially, working with women, mostly women with food and body issues,
Mhm.
that is a conversation that changes over time,
Mhm.
but it can go faster. It can definitely go faster.
Mm.
But it's like you have all that momentum built up on a certain topic. It's going to take a little time to
Yeah.
reverse the momentum and start changing your beliefs about how, and that's why I love the calibrations, because they really,
Mm.
I feel like they speed it up a little. So, but
Oh,
tell
yeah.
me, yeah, you feel the same way?
Mhm.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So tell me how that kind of occurred. While this was all happening, you stopped. Okay, I'm not going to talk about the problem
Mhm.
anymore. I'm not going to talk about the illness. I'm not going to focus on the illness. I'm going to focus on appreciation. I'm going to focus on, the sheets on my bed, my pillow. I'm going to look for things to
Mhm.
appreciate. And then while you were doing all of that, what sort of started to change? I would imagine it
Mhm.
started to change then about the food, how you thought about food.
Well, like I think one thing I mean, I was appreciating everything, but started really appreciating the food that I was eating. So,
Mm,
like savoring the food and appreciating how wonderful it is. Because mostly I was eating uh, vet vegetables. Oh, one thing that medical medium did for me actually, which was super awesome, was I hadn't eaten fruit. I hadn't eaten because
mhm,
I felt that I had this yeast imbalance, Candida. And they say, oh, you can't have any fruit. So I went years without any fruit, and fruit is magnificent.
mhm.
And so when I actually started the medical medium diet, and medical medium's all about fruit, like fruit is awesome. And I got the book that he wrote about what's great about every food. And you can read about the amazing things about a
Mm.
cantaloupe or a watermelon or a peach
I
or like
love
all different
that.
fruits.
I
And so
love
I got
that.
that book and I read about it and it really excited me. And so it freed me to eat fruit again. And I started eating fruit. And oh my goodness, did I
Mm.
appreciate fruit when I started eating fruit again? Like
Mhm.
bananas? Oh, perfection. Um,
Mhm.
I could go on and on about how exciting fruit is. And so
Go
that
on.
brought,
Go on for just a minute. Go on. Tell me about you know what? I
oh,
love this celebrating food. So just take a few
yeah,
moments and go ahead and
sure.
rampage on some fruits you love
Oh my
that you
goodness.
can
I
share with.
used to love bananas when I was a kid, and then I stopped eating bananas when I had Candida. And like bananas are like, I mean, how perfect is a banana? You carry it with you. It's got its whole container there, and you can mix it with like peanut butter and jam and oh, strawberries and bananas, blueberries and bananas, like the combinations that you can make with bananas and
Mhm. It's
anything else
bananas.
is, oh, yes, bananas. Started eating strawberries and blueberries and just like oh and medical medium would talk about how the amazing qualities of these different fruits and all the things that it does in your body and how it interact. Oh, I was just in love with it.
Mm.
And if you get his book on the cleansing foods or whatever, the pictures of the fruit are just like phenomenal.
Mm.
So yeah, he totally got me excited about fruit again, and so I introduced fruit into my life and especially about having fruit first thing in the morning. Like he talks about that a lot.
Mhm.
He's celery juice, which helped me enormously. Celery juice is like
Mhm.
I still do celery juice often. And then he talked about melons and how they're already pre-digested. If you have a melon first thing in the morning on an empty stomach, do you know
Mhm.
what that does in your system? It's amazing. And then you follow that up with more fruit. So I eat tons of fruit in the morning. I'm just like so
Mhm.
excited about it. Oh my goodness, it's
I love
exciting.
it. I love it. See, I love when people get excited about food. Yes.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I
And
was
just
already excited
celebrate
about
it.
vegetables, but then I got to add fruit in there, and it was just like my life just transformed just by the addition of fruit back into my life. And I wonder if everybody who always ate fruit appreciates how magnificent it is. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, yeah. Some do and some don't.
Yeah,
Some do and some
just
don't.
look at a pineapple. Like, oh, I could just go on and on.
Mhm.
But yeah, I eat pineapple
Yeah.
every single day. It's fabulous.
Yeah, and I get more and more excited about fruit and whatever else, whereas before
I don't think I would allow myself to get excited about food because it was almost like I was embarrassed to be excited
Mm.
about food. Well, of course she likes food. Look, she's fat or she's overweight or whatever. Like in my head,
Oh.
think so I wouldn't allow myself to really express, and just discovering that food freedom, that's
Mm-hmm.
what I'm so excited about, and to hear you talk about
Mm-hmm.
your journey of discovering, like,
Mm-hmm.
part of it is
Yeah.
celebrating food.
And at the same time that I was doing that, I think you're always shifting things, right? So at the same time as I was appreciating the food that I was eating more, I started soothing, because soothing is super important, right? Like Abraham talks about this a
Mhm.
lot. If you have any kind of a problem, what you want to do is start soothing yourself on the topic. So I got really good at soothing myself on everything. I was constantly having a conversation with myself and tried very much to make it the focus to be soothing. So when I thought about foods that I had previously felt were not good foods, I would just think about how Abraham talks about all the foods, and I would be like, you know what, I can be easy about it. It's okay to start thinking about this food in this way. Like, there's lots of people like a focus wheel, like doing a focus wheel in your head all the time, right? A focus wheel,
Mhm.
you'd
Yes.
take that thing and then you start trying to say some statements that you can believe. Like, you don't want to say something
Yes.
outrageous that you don't believe
Yes.
yet, but you want to kind of say some gentle statements that feel believable to you, that help you along the path towards change, having a different view about it. So I did that all the time about all the foods that I wanted to be able to eat, but I still had negative feelings about. And so I still do that now. Like, I do that a lot. And then I
Yeah.
listened to tons of Abraham. Like, I searched Abraham Hicks food, Abraham Hicks
Mhm.
well-being, Abraham Hicks health,
Mhm.
Abraham Hicks body. And I listened to those things like a lot. And, I wrote notes about it. And like, I really focused on all the foods are good. And I would like to believe that. And how can
Mhm.
I have change some thoughts, add some thoughts, think some new thoughts about
Mhm.
food. And then I was able to yeah,
Brilliant,
I
by the
started,
way. I love this.
yeah.
This is so good. Go ahead.
And and then and then on your journey of changing things, sometimes you get a little ahead of yourself. Or so I had an interesting experience. It was, let's see, that's a year and a half ago, where I thought, oh, I want to add gluten back in. I wanted to add gluten. I wanted to start eating gluten. So I did a little bit here and there, like at work. At work they might have, donuts or something, and I would try it just isolated events, right? And
Because
I thought,
you were not eating gluten for a
no,
while
oh, many years.
because you thought it wasn't, you were allergic to it, or why didn't you eat gluten?
Well, the first thing was, like, when I first went to a naturopath, when I was having my health problems were really developing, I went to a naturopath, and the first thing they tell you is, okay, now you have to cut gluten, is the first thing they tell you to cut out. So I had
Okay,
cut out
okay.
gluten years and years ago. And then I researched it to death and found out, oh my goodness, gluten is like the devil. It's terrible. And
Right.
so, yeah, and all the stuff about
Right.
GMOs and things,
Okay.
pesticides that are sprayed, blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Great. So you added,
So
so you had feelings to inspire, you were inspired to add some back. Yeah.
yeah, but on a very isolated case by
Mhm.
case basis. And then I felt fine. And so I thought, okay, this is really good. And then a friend asked me, are you eating gluten again? Because it was getting close to Christmas. And she was wondering, I guess, if she should give me, baking, how people give you baking at Christmas.
Yeah.
And and I said, well, I guess I am. I guess I'm eating gluten. Yeah. And so
Mhm.
she gave me a tin of her baking and I ate it
Mhm.
all. And at the same time that that was happening, I was worrying about my daughter. My daughter was going through stuff and I was very worried about her. And so I ate the tin of gluten filled baking. And then I just went crazy on gluten. I
Mhm.
just ate it all over the Christmas holidays. I thought, oh, I'm going to eat garlic bread. Oh, I'm going to eat this. I'm going to eat that. I ate it all.
Mhm.
But I was kind of doing it from like a compulsive, like, it wasn't because I
Mhm.
wanted it,
Mhm.
like I really
Mhm.
loved it. I was doing it from a feeling of stress. I was very
Right.
worried about my daughter. And I
Right.
didn't consciously connect those things at the time.
Right.
So then the 2 weeks of Christmas holidays passed and it was time to go back to work. And I was offered a position, but I was so sick. Like, suddenly I was so sick. I felt like a truck had run over me. I was
Mhm.
flat. It was terrible.
Mm. Mhm.
And so I cut out all the gluten immediately. It took me 2 weeks to get better. And I missed out
Mm-hmm.
on 2 weeks of work because I couldn't even hardly get out of bed. And
Mm-hmm.
afterwards, I was like, what in the world happened here? And I ended up realizing that the reason that I changed the diet was because of stress. I was worried. And so I ate from I wasn't eating in alignment. I was eating from a vibration of I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
soothe myself with this food. All the stress that I
Eating
was
from
feeling.
a low vibration.
Oh,
Yeah.
very much so, very much
Yeah.
so. And so then, and it was strange because I had actually had to introduce chocolate again before that, and I'd been enjoying chocolate, dark chocolate only, and I'd been enjoying it. And after that incident with the gluten, I had zero desire for chocolate anymore. I had to put it all in the
Mm-hmm.
freezer, take it away completely. So my body really spoke to me and was like, we don't want gluten right now, and we don't want chocolate, and we don't want this and that. So I went back to my really healthy diet for a while, and I soothed myself all over again. Like, so there was
Mm-hmm.
like it was like a bit of a roller coaster there. And then I soothed and listened to more Abraham again about food and health and everything. And eventually got to the point where, you know what, I could eat this again and I can eat that again. And now I am eating gluten and enjoying it.
Oh, okay.
And
So you're
yeah,
eating, so do you feel like you're eating it from a higher vibration now?
yes. Oh,
Like
yes. Like
you're
I
in a
don't,
good, like meaning when you're eating this, you're in a good mood. Like you feel like you're in a good mood,
mhm.
which
Yeah.
basically is a high vibration. You're not
Yeah.
eating necessarily from stress or,
Right. I mean, every so often we all get into these spots where we eat out of
yes,
a
yes.
compulsion, like and that
Or
happens to me still.
comfort,
Yeah, a
like, you know,
comfort.
like
Yeah.
I will say that I still occasionally eat like when I'm not hungry. Like I'm full
Yes.
and I'll eat a little bit more. But for the most
Yes.
part, and it's comfort or you're at a social
Yeah.
engagement and there's food and so I don't beat myself up about it anymore. But for the most part, I stop when I'm full for
Hmm.
the most part. And then
Hmm.
if I do eat more, I don't beat myself up like I used to about that or
Yeah.
just go nuts, like because I realize it's about the vibration. It's not
Hmm.
necessarily even about the food. And that sounds like crazy for people who don't understand Abraham
Hmm.
or vibration or anything, but um, the vibration trumps. Abraham Hicks will talk about this, the actual food. So if you're
Yeah.
feeling good
Yeah.
and you eat this food, your body, but if you like feeling bad and from a lower vibration
Hmm.
and you're eating this food from a lower vibration where you're just feeling like really, you might have a lot of anxiety or a lot, and that's
Hmm.
okay too. Learning to soothe all of it,
Hmm.
like
Oh,
soothe
absolutely. Like
all of
I've
it.
had some very big ups and downs when I started wanting to eat all the foods, and I've done vegetarian before, and I decided I really wanted to start enjoying burgers. Like that was an example that came up. I really wanted to have burgers because, of course, not having gluten for many years, I certainly didn't have a burger. Even when I wasn't doing vegetarian, I didn't eat a burger because, gluten free. You can't
Right.
find sweet burger, and like
A
so when I decided I wanted.
gluten-free buns are, th- they're okay. They're okay, but yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So
so
when I
go
started
ahead.
enjoying gluten again, I was like, and I'm like not vegetarian, so I thought, oh, I could have burgers. So I thought I'm going to go around to all the places and try all the burgers and see what I like. And so
Mhm.
I started doing that. And at first I enjoyed it, but it got to the point where I would eat a burger and 3 bites in, I would feel gross. And I was like, what's going on here? I want to
Mhm.
eat the burgers. Like I can eat the burgers and I want to eat the burgers.
Mhm.
And it just got to the point where I was like, I can't do this. I just can't do this. And I had to put down a burger 3 bites in. And I'm like, what is this madness? And and so I ended up realizing that what I was doing, I was trying to prove something. Like I actually talked to Wiola about it recently. And yeah,
Wiola is a another channeler that
like Costa channels
Costa,
Wiola.
uh, I don't know how to pronounce his
I don't
last
know
name,
it
but
either.
there's Armand and Costa. Costa channels Wiola. You could find them on you could Google them. It's
Yeah.
Weola. Yeah,
Yes,
Viola. So go ahead. So
absolutely.
you
So
asked Viola.
yeah, about this because I started eating everything and then I've gained weight through that process of trying all the different foods and that's unusual for me. And so I asked about this and they asked some questions and whatnot. And it turns out that what I was doing, I was trying to prove because Abraham says that all the foods are good. It's just about your belief. And I wanted to prove that all the foods were good. So I had a vibration of like proving something. And that's not a
Mm-hmm.
that's
You
not a
wanted
reason.
you were on a mission to prove that you're
Yeah,
right. Yeah, okay.
that all the foods are great. So
All the foods are great.
that's not a high vibration. So yeah, so it makes sense then that it didn't work out. And so
So
I
wait a minute. Is
really
that what Viola said? That is that what you came
yeah. Well,
that
the proving he pointed out the proving that
yeah.
I had this vibration of
Interesting.
I'm going to prove it
In,
instead of a I'm appreciating all these
oh my
things
gosh,
or
that's really
and I was
fascinating.
like,
Okay.
yes, that is exactly what was happening. I was trying to prove that all the foods are good. And they are
But
all good.
but can I just say also
Yeah.
that I love for me when I heard you tell that story about the burger, like I immediately thought that you were listening to your body. Like
Yes.
your mind wanted the whole burger
Yes.
experience, but your
Absolutely.
body, your stomach was like, "Oh, 3 bites, that's good."
Yep.
And I know
Yep.
in one of my other podcast interviews with Betsy Ronell, she talks about how she just, she has the one bite and with every little bite, she's like, she has the one bite, like of the,
Hmm.
like talking about brownies, she has the one bite and then, okay, how does that feel? That feels really good. And then she has the next bite. How does that feel? Okay, that feels really good. That feels so yummy. And then the third bite, little bite. And then it's like, okay, this next bite, doesn't feel good. It just
Hmm.
doesn't, like, it doesn't feel good, like physically,
Yeah.
emotionally. And then so she's so in tune with her body. So it just sounds to me like you were, yeah.
Yes, that is definitely what was also happening. That well,
Mm-hmm.
it's happening in all my eating of food. Like I'll make a, you know how you figure you've been told all your life that you need to finish the plate, right? You need to
Right.
finish your plate. If you make this food, then you should finish it.
Yes.
And I've gotten like, you know, 3/4 through something and I'll feel like if I take that next bite, it's not going to feel good. Like don't
Mm-hmm.
and I have to like have that little conversation within myself because my mind wants to finish the plate. It tastes really good, it looks really good, it smells really good. I want to eat it. But everything in me is saying you're done. That's enough.
Right.
You know? And so then to be able to actually put it away and not keep eating. And sometimes I continue on
Mm-hmm.
and I feel yuck. Like I'll feel it. Like I'll take
Mm-hmm.
that next bite and I'll feel bleh, gross,
Right.
you know. And sometimes I'll listen and I'll put it away and I'll be like, oh, that was nice. I enjoyed what I had, and you know, it was good. So
Yeah.
I'm just more as I have more and more of those experiences, it gets easier and easier because I can see how I feel when I
Mm-hmm.
stop, when my body tells me to stop. But I still continue on sometimes, and then I don't I do the self-soothing thing. I don't beat myself up about it. Okay, so I did that.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. Nothing serious going on here.
Right.
That phrase seriously of Abraham's has helped me in so many ways. Like
Mhm.
all's well, nothing serious going on here. It's no big deal. Whatever. I don't care. Like all those
Mhm.
those phrases
Mhm.
that Abraham says that are just like releasing all the seriousness out
Yeah,
of
the
stuff.
one that really works for me because I have this thing like if I eat late at night, if I eat after a certain time,
Mm,
then I call it the voice and the voice comes in, right? And for me I mean I love all of yours too and I might steal them, but for me um it's okay. It's
mhm,
okay. It's all about vibration anyway. It's all
mhm.
about vibration. It's not about the
Yeah.
food. It's
Yeah.
about the vibration. So what are you feeling right now? How can you feel better? And then I'm like,
Mhm.
yeah, but you ate that. It's late at night. What are you
Yeah.
doing? You're gonna gain weight. It's gonna go straight to your butt. It's gonna go straight to your thighs. Oh yeah, oh, it's okay.
It's okay.
It's not about the food.
Ah.
It's about my vibration. So that's that. So it's really finding what works for you,
Mhm.
like
Yeah. Oh,
the
and
soothing. Yeah.
yeah, and another thing that I've done as I've been on this journey of like I've gained weight through the last year as I've been trying all these different things, and this is something that I've done through this whole journey is to view everything as an adventure. So everything that's coming, like contrast or whatever's coming, it's all an adventure. And like if I get lost, I'm a person who gets lost a lot. And so it used to stress me out until I turned it into an adventure. Like, so I'm lost. This is an adventure. This is something I've never experienced before. This is fun. And I see things as an adventure, as an opportunity. And so this, like, the fact that I've started gaining some weight, it's like, oh, this is just something new. It's a new adventure for me. I haven't felt this before. And let's see, what's different about it? What can be enjoyed about it? And it's just a new experience. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
So choosing to see everything as an adventure has helped me enormously on this journey, because what are we here for if not to have an adventure in this
Yeah.
physical reality, right?
Yeah. So I love that you had this calibration with Gina Mallison, and you wanted to feel better about your tummy because you felt like you had gained weight in your tummy area.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end of the calibration, we go into that's like the third part of the calibration, we call it. And then you went into, your insights, integration, you went into expressing your insights. It's like the best part of the calibration where you really get connected to your inner being even more, and you see the topic from a different point of view, from your inner being's point of view. And if can I just share some of the things?
Yeah,
I wrote them
absolutely.
down
I'm brilliant.
Yes, so this is infinite wisdom. We really feel like it's like infinite wisdom because you're connecting with your inner being in a more even deeper way. And so you're saying like, yeah, my body is just finding its balance. So you were like looking at it differently. Oh yeah, okay, so I gained a few pounds in my tummy or whatever, in my body, and it's been through a lot for many years, a lot of emotions and restrictions and surgeries. It's logical that it would take time to find its balance. And I've only in the last few months been learning to tune into what my body is telling me about what I want to eat. Yes, all the foods are great, but what does my body want to eat? Like your mind, like you're saying, your mind wants the whole burger, but like what does my body want? It only wants 3 bites. Or I'm new to this way of thinking, this relationship with food. You're already this is Gina talking to you. I'm new to this way of thinking, this relationship with food. You're already able to listen to your body. I like this burger, but what does my body want? I'm just beginning to explore the world of food. So anything else you want to say about that? Or just reiterate it all? Yeah. I mean, anything new? Because this was back in July. So where are you now?
I am just, oh my goodness, I feel like I'm in such an amazing place, really, because every time almost all the calibrations that I've had, the insights that I get involve, you already are doing everything great. Like I'm really good at appreciating, as you know, and I'm really good at feeling good. Like there's tons of things that make me feel good. And when I get to feeling really, really good, all kinds of insights come to me. And so as I've gotten back into that and just feeling like, wow, everything's great. I can dance in my living room and I can feel great. I can look at the sky and I can feel great. And I just choosing to feel great. All these insights are coming to me about my body. And it's like just flashes of insight about, I could go do this and I could go do that. And I could talk to this person about this. And I've gotten so many insights, like for my abdominal issues, there are treatments that you can do all by yourself at home for scar tissue that's in your abdomen. And I had forgotten about all that. And so I was feeling really good. And one day this insight came to me, oh, castor oil packs. So I started doing castor oil packs, and it's already been helping me a lot. And I just choose to feel good. And I'm guided to talk to so-and-so. I was guided to talk to my friend, Terry, about my issues with certain muscles being really, really tight. And because that's something that happened through all those years of stress. And she's like, oh, you could totally be doing somatics and pandiculation. I'm like, what's pandiculation? I've never even heard of such a thing. After she told me about it, I started researching it, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is the perfect thing. And the other day I was guided to I used to get acupuncture. Acupuncture was one of the things I tried when I was sick. I tried everything when I was still
Mm-hmm.
sick. And that was
Mm-hmm.
one of the things I tried. And I bought a package at the time, which was a huge investment for me of 20 sessions. And then I only used 13 of them. And I'd completely forgotten about this. I had no memory of this. But one day, this insight just came to me. Acupuncture, you should go back to that clinic that you went to. I called them. I still had 8 sessions left that I paid for like years ago and didn't use.
Mm-hmm.
I went to the acupuncture guy and he's like, yeah, we can totally like fix all these things by he can poke needles into, do you know this? He
Yes.
can poke
Yeah.
needles
Well,
into scar
I've
tissue.
never had it done, but I'm thinking about it. But yeah.
Yeah. And so it started helping after the first session. I've had 2 sessions and I'm already feeling like way better. So as I've started to feel better and better, and like I talked to Wayola about this and I've gotten calibrations about it and I've chosen to feel really, really good, so many insights have come to me and my body is feeling better and better as I just follow this inspiration or that inspiration. Stuff that I would never have
Mm-hmm.
thought of, right? Like,
Right.
or, talk
And
to
that's
someone.
how it works, isn't it? That's how
Yeah,
it
it
works.
is. It is.
You get inspired. It's not the action journey. When you
No.
focus, the action journey is more efforting and it's
Hmm.
more, how can I fix this, and looking outward. And instead of the inner journey, which is, spiritual
Hmm.
fulfillment, spiritual growth, and then you get inspirations,
Hmm.
your inner being just like guides you. Like all of a sudden you get like
Yeah.
an idea, like the light
Yes.
bulb you get an idea. Oh, why not
Yeah.
do this? And it feels good. And that's how you know if it's inspired or if
Absolutely.
it's
And then you
trying.
just
Yeah.
follow it and you're like amazed. Oh my goodness, that's the perfect thing. And then you just keep feeling good and some other inspiration comes and you follow that. And I just have gotten so many inspirations, even in the last few weeks about
Mm-hmm.
my health. And I'm excited. So I didn't have to sit down and say, Selena, how are you going to improve your, like, what are you going to do? And make a list of, like, I didn't have to do any of that. I just felt good and I just choose to feel happy and enjoy my life. And great things come. I'm so excited. So excited.
Yeah. So can you tell me a little bit about how your health has improved since you learned of Abraham and law
Oh
of
my
attraction?
goodness. It's
So just give us,
complete.
yeah, how your physical being, like
Oh, well,
yeah.
I used to feel like there was a boulder. Like I told you, I had fatigue. It felt like there was a massive, like 20-ton boulder on me all the time. And that's completely gone. I feel
Mm.
full of energy and vitality. The first time I went up a set of stairs after I started to feel better, I was like, oh my goodness, this is like magnificent. My body is going upwards with no effort. And I didn't feel
Mm.
tired. I was so excited. My feet had hurt for like decades
Mhm.
and I had to wear like custom shoes with custom
Mhm.
orthotics everywhere I
Mhm.
went. I couldn't even go in a shower without like Crocs on. My feet hurt
Mm.
even when I was lying in bed. It was
Mhm.
that bad. Now I can walk around barefoot. I wear the cute shoes. I go
Mhm.
everywhere. I mean, you saw me on the cruise. I danced and danced and danced,
Yes, you
and
did.
I
Yes, you
felt
did.
awesome. That was magnificent. Like 7 days of dancing all the time. And
Mhm.
I felt awesome. So I don't lose my voice anymore. I used to lose my voice, like I said, several times a year
Mhm.
for weeks at a time. My
Oh.
voice is great. Like I can go outside in the middle of the winter and call kids in from recess and I can use my loudest voice. And in fact, I take great pleasure in it, yelling as loud as I can. And my voice is super
Mm.
strong. And I just, everything. Like I certainly don't get dizzy. I don't have no itchiness. And if I do have a symptom, if any kind of symptom of something comes up,
Mhm.
like I know that it's just a sign to look at my vibration. Like it has nothing to
Mhm.
do with my physical body. My physical body is amazing. And
Mhm.
so if anything does come up, I'm just like, okay, what's going on in my thinking? And I look at that and whatever it was resolves as I do the inner work, to
Mhm.
see, well, what's going on with my thinking? What lie am I believing or whatever? Yeah, it has nothing to do with my body. My body is amazing and I choose every day to think about how amazing it is.
Oh my
So,
gosh, I
yeah.
just love it so much, Selena. You're such I am so excited about this interview with you and how
Oh,
many
good.
people it's going to help, because you're just, a great demonstration of alignment and delicious
Mhm.
alignment,
Yeah,
and the
yeah,
law of attraction and how this stuff works.
yeah.
Yes. Any last words you'd like to share with anyone listening who um, wants to feel better about their body, wants to feel better about their food, maybe has some pain or discomfort in their physical body, and
Mm.
anything you'd like
Yeah.
to share with them
Well,
before we end.
so one of the like some of the thoughts that helped me a lot, like when I transitioned to this kind of thinking, is that everything is happening for me, not to me. And that was a tough one at the beginning, but now I see that every little bit of contrast and what feels like contrast is happening for me, because it's like a signal. It's just pointing me to something that, like some resistance or something that I have, that if I were to like release it, whoosh, like amazing things could happen. So that thing that feels like contrast, that pain in your body or whatever, is happening for you, because it's drawing your attention to, if you choose to follow it, to looking at something that if you were to release, you're just going to feel amazing, And so I choose to see everything is happening for me, and I also choose to see things that I get to do things. I don't have to do things. And when I was able to switch to, I get to look at this contrast that's happening instead of I have to. Oh, it's like sucky. When you change your attitude, everything's changed. It's really all about mindset. It really is all about your mindset. So
Yes,
yeah,
totally.
just go
Yes.
forward. And yeah, we see things. We also, another one was, we see things as we are, not as they are. And I started to see how I was looking at everything through my filters. And when I can release those filters, then I actually can see things as they actually are, not as the contrast and all the limiting beliefs, and if you release those, now everything opens up. Oh my goodness. I don't know if that made any sense, but everything opened up when I started choosing to see things that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it all makes such great sense, and feels so good, and everything is happening for us. I love that. And your body is communicating to you through
It
these
really is.
things that this ache or this pain or this, it's your body communicating. So it's the thought first that maybe you're thinking this negative thought, and over time it shows up. So that's why now I like to get ahead of the emotion, the negative emotion, get ahead of it. Oh, there's something there. What is it? How can I feel better? How can I? So it's like vibrational maintenance, like spiritual maintenance.
Yeah. Pre-paving, segmented
Pre-paving.
tending. Yeah. All that stuff is so good.
Yeah, really good,
Yeah.
Selena. Thank you so much.
Oh, it was fun.
Really incredible interview. I really appreciate it.
Here are the takeaways from this episode. 1. Choose your focus. 2. Stop telling the story of your illness and limitations. 3. Choose to see everything as an adventure. 4. Everything is happening for you, not to you. 5. Start appreciating things first thing upon waking up. 6. Choose only uplifting and funny things to watch and listen to. 7. Look at the sky. Engage with nature as much as possible. 8. Eat from a place of alignment. 9. Be in tune with your body. It will tell you what it wants and when it's full. 10. Appreciate your food. Savor every bite. I hope you enjoyed this episode with Selina Penner. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe to this podcast and leave a review. That helps us spread the message of body love and food freedom even further. And I've got something new to announce. If you're interested in sponsoring one of my next episodes, email us at support@deliciousalignment.com for more information. This podcast is growing, and we have many sponsorship opportunities for coaches, delicious products, and more. If you'd like to connect with Selina, you can find her on Facebook at Selina P. Penner. That's SELINA PENNER. Or on Instagram at Selina Penner. She's great on Instagram, by the way. She's the one who taught me how to make a boomerang. So fun. Find all the links mentioned in this podcast at deliciousalignment.com/podcast, and make sure to join my Facebook group, Delicious Alignment-Abraham Hicks.